You know what it is. Tuesday, December 20th. Let's fade the noise and get that cash. Welcome to Daily Bets with the Spittin Statistician. I am Dane Martinez, the Spittin Statistician, and with me today, spreading some holiday cheer, is my guy, Chris Meaney. He's off the mean streets and he's here on Daily Bets. I like the holiday spirit there, Chris. The little Santa hat action. Not bad.
'Tis the season, a little bit too early for maybe, a little bit of rum and spiced eggnog or spiced rum and eggnog. Maybe a little bit too, maybe it's not too early. Maybe I already had a couple of them. Who knows? No, just 'tis the season. Decided to chuck the hat on. I know Jake Seeley's very festive, so he kind of rubbed off on me on Monday. So we may rock the hat all week. We don't know. We'll see.
I like it.
Love joining you, though, dude. Love joining you here.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming down. We're going to talk a little bit of NHL, but first, it is the season, and I got to let everybody know, Chris, over at FTN, we are giving out, stocking stuffers galore. Today, we're halfway through. You see it on the bottom, all right? $125 off the annual subscription, okay? Use that promo code Xmas7, the 12 days of Christmas, and FTN definitely giving you some stuff. I think these are great stocking stuffers, right, Chris? Just give them to the whole family. Then they get that edge and they start cashing props,
Absolutely. Yeah. And we also have our free trials too. So if you're a little uncertain about FTN Daily, you don't know, hopefully, if you're playing, season-long football, you're still alive and you can win yourself a fantasy football championship. But if your season's over and you're thinking about there's still a few weeks left in the regular season, and then throughout playoffs will be with you as well. You get the NFL optimizer, you get projections tools, as you see there. Yeah, ftnbets.com/free, ftndaily.com/free. So you can head on over to either one of those sites, make a free account, surf around the website, say, okay, I like what I see here, and then maybe take advantage of that promo using the code Xmas7. And keep an eye, as you mentioned, we are 12 days of Christmas, so we have a few more days left. Absolutely. And we may have a couple more good ones for you out there as well. Maybe daily is not your thing, and bets, keep an eye. Also season-long stuff as well. And I know just the other day, if you signed up for the FTN Fantasy Platinum package, you get a year of that. So you're going to get Jeff Ratcliffe's rankings and projections heading into next year's fantasy football draft as well. So planning ahead, nice little Christmas gift.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was one day where you got a month for like literally a penny, so many great opportunities there. But let's dive in a little bit here for the novice. Okay. Here's one thing I want to ask you here in the NHL. We're about 35 games in, almost at the halfway point of the season. I can't believe it, right? We're almost at that threshold. I guess my question for you is generally, Chris, what do we know so far? Who's overperforming? Who's underperforming? Do you think we have a representative sample size to be able to say, oh, this team is a far worse defense than we thought? This team is underperforming what we thought. What do we know? Just a little bit more than a third, just shy of half of the way through the regular season.
Well, we know that the Boston Bruins are amazing. I don't think that they're playing over their heads at all. I mean, they're fantastic. Through 31 games, Dane, they're 25-4-2. They only have a couple losses at home. They've been absolutely automatic. I mean, they can come at you in waves. You've got a guy in Taylor Hall, who's a former MVP in the league, is playing on their third line and their second power play. Just goes to show how deep that squad is. And their second goalie, Jeremy Swayman, is probably better than a third of the NHL starting goalies for other teams in the league. So they are set up. I don't feel like they are playing over their heads, maybe slightly. I mean, to have 4 regulation losses in your first 31 games is pretty remarkable, right?
Good.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to, it's pretty good. I don't know if they're going to break
Edmonton Oilers, New York Islanders in the mid 80s kind of stuff.
And the Habs in the 70s and things. I don't know if they're going to break any records like that, but they are comfortably locked into the top spot in the Atlantic. We are seeing other teams that started off pretty slow start to pick it up. Like the Rangers are playing really good hockey lately. Yeah. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10. The Hurricanes are 9-0-1 in their last 10. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are playing the Rangers tonight, should be a really good game, are 7-2-1 in their last 10. So those are 3 teams that I think we all expected to be in the playoff picture. And they had a lot of ground to make up for the Devils. I mean, the Devils went on this crazy win streak and point streak, and now they've kind of come back down to earth. So I would say that's a team that's maybe has played a little bit over their head. They've now lost 5 straight. I don't think they're this bad. I also don't think they're as good as their 13-game winning streak. They're probably a playoff team, but they had a large cushion in the Metro, 44 points. Now the Hurricanes play the Devils tonight, also 44 points. The Rangers are just behind them, 3 back, and then the Penguins are 4 back as well. I'd say there's a sneaky team that's playing pretty good lately. It's the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres are 7-2-1 in their last 10. Offensively, they're one of the best teams in the NHL. They have a lot of holes in their blue line, and they have some shaky goaltending, so I don't know if they're a playoff squad. But, Dane, this is a betting show. They play to a lot of overs. Line is one of the best. I know we touched on them last time I joined you, and Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck, Skinner. It's one of the best lines in the NHL. Tage is just 2 goals back of Connor McDavid. He's still 10-1 to win the Rocket. We have a 40-1 ticket in the bet tracker for him to win the Rocket. It's gonna be tough. McDavid is an absolute alien, but Tage Thompson's playing really good, and the Sabres are playing fun hockey. So if you like overs and you like offense, maybe target Buffalo games in the new year.
All right, fair enough. And listen, Chris is giving you 40-1 plays, and sometimes when he does that, they come in. I don't know if you saw last week, Alexander Ovechkin was sitting 3 goals shy of a monumental threshold, right, to get 800 for his career. And Meaney was like, you know what? He's going to get all 3 tonight. I'm going to bet Ovi to get a hat trick, and then bang, money for him. I think that was like 35-1 or something like that. So listen, when this man speaks, you got to listen. What's up, Chris?
Sometimes you got to have a little bit of luck on your side. It was pretty fortunate for that one. It worked out. It just so happened that DraftKings had that special on, and they were playing one of the worst teams in the Blackhawks. And it happened early, so it was really cool. Like, he scored 24 seconds in, so you knew it was alive because he had gone. I think his last 4 goals before that hat trick were all goals in an empty net. So he's on the ice quite a bit when his Capitals are up. So sometimes, like, if he can get 1 or 2, there's always that chance that he could get a goal. And something to consider too, I guess, a lot of people talk about first goals, taking shots on first goals. Not a bad idea to take a shot on a last goal in a hockey game when Ovechkin is playing, especially if you feel like his Capitals are going to win, because he does have quite a few goals via the empty net.
All right, interesting. Definitely something we will watch for. But let's look at tonight's slate. One game that I know is interesting to you, at least, Chris, is the Calgary Flames are in California to take on the Sharks. Total for this one is 6. Calgary on the road, but they are, big favorites. I saw them at -176, I do believe, at one shop. I know you've got a play in this game and even a prop in this game. Where do you want to go first there, Chris?
Yeah, we could start with the Flames. It's overall in 60 or 3-way just to win in regulation at -110. I know it's a team that's on the road here, as you alluded to, and they've been pretty inconsistent. I had higher expectations for this squad this year. They lost Johnny Hockey and they lost Matthew Tkachuk. Those, it was one of the best lines in hockey last year with Elias Lindholm, and they lost, their 2 of their best players. And I thought they did an okay job of replacing them, especially because, everyone knew Johnny Hockey was going to leave through free agency, and Matthew Tkachuk had, he told the Flames he wasn't interested in a long-term deal. So their backs were kind of up against the wall. And I thought they did okay in those deals, getting Mackenzie Weegar and Jonathan Huberdeau and signing Nazem Kadri. But those 3 players have been very inconsistent, and the Flames too. Overall, they're not getting great goaltending. But a matchup here against the Sharks, this is the second half of a back-to-back between these 2 teams, or a double header rather. We saw Calgary win that first one on home ice. Now they're going to go to San Jose. Thomas Hertl is going to be suspended for this game. He's not going to play. He is a nasty high stick in the first game against Elias Lindholm. The Sharks are not very deep. They have about 3 or 4 really strong forwards, and Thomas Hertl is one of those guys. So they're going to be super thin down the middle of the ice, and that's where I think the advantage lies with Calgary. They are pretty deep in the middle. You got Lindholm center 1, Nazem Kadri center 2, Mikhail Backlund center 3. So all of a sudden you're losing the Sharks' top center in Hertl. Maybe Logan Couture moves up the lineup. Their bottom 6 is not ideal. The goaltending is pretty shaky in San Jose. So I am willing to take them to win in regulation as opposed to the puck line. I do think that they could win by a couple goals if you wanted to go that route. Use our prop shop, get best possible odds. But -110 to win in 60 is what I'm going to get behind. And then one player I'm taking a look at is Dylan Dubé, who is playing on the first line. Daryl Sutter's done a bunch of different things to kind of get Jonathan Huberdeau going. Huberdeau's been on the third line. He's been on the second. He's been on the first. But now Dylan Dubé is on that first line in Huberdeau's spot, I guess, is the first left winger with Lindholm and Tyler Toffoli. He enters tonight on a 3-game point streak. He's got 1 goal and 5 points over that span. He's got 4 assists in his last 3 and 5 assists in his last 5 games. So consider the assist prop at +172 Tyler Toffoli and Elias Lindholm are shooters on that line. They love to shoot the puck. And if they can find a way to find the back of the net at 5-5, I'm sure Dubé will be involved. He's also on the second power play. But I'm just going to take, for my pick, personally, full 1 unit play, maybe half a unit on the assist, but a 1 unit play on the -106 at FanDuel. Prop shop, again, is your friend. I'm seeing DraftKings at -110. So big promotion to the top line lately. Big boost in ice time. Still getting power play time as well. And I like the players he's playing with tonight in what is a really good spot.
Yeah, fair enough. And you talk about the injuries there, for the Sharks a little bit, kind of the ripple effect. Everybody moves up a line and then creating some mismatches there. So definitely check out the Calgary Flames to potentially win in regulation. No overtime needed in San Jose tonight. Now, Meaney, as you know, you're the hockey expert, right? I'm just kind of, trying to become a sharp here in the NHL, trying to get better and better, trying to understand. I say all the time to folks, we're not just giving you a fish, we're teaching you how to fish. So I want to tell you kind of how the sausage was made, what I come up with here in terms of an NHL prop from me tonight, and some of the stats I looked at, and I got some options, and I'll have you help me make the final call.
Sure.
Is that cool? All right.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, this will be fun.
I saw that in action tonight are the Anaheim Ducks. And the Anaheim Ducks, to me, seem to be the worst defensive team in all of the NHL, right? I mean, they give up 4.16 goals a game. That's the worst in the NHL. But really what I thought was the differentiator here, Chris, honestly, is the shots on goal that they give up. The Ducks give up. You ready for this, Chris? They've given up 1,204 shots on goal so far this season. The second worst in the NHL are the Blue Jackets, who I think are also in action tonight. They've given up less than 1,100, like 1,096. So it's over 100 shot difference from the worst to the second worst. So I'm going to attack them. Okay, I'm going to attack the Ducks. I'm looking at members of the Los Angeles Kings who they play tonight. I also noticed that that's one of the only 6.5s on the board tonight. We're allowed a 6 on the number. So that kind of reinforces for me that there could be some offense in this one. Now, I've listened to you many times. I've listened to other people who I respect. And I say, when you're looking for a prop, think about who is on the power play line. You've talked about this, the extra ice time, right? So I'm looking and I'm starting to zone in on a couple of guys. I'm zoning it on Kempe. I'm zoning it on Kopitar. And I'm zoning in on Kevin Fiala, okay? Then I went and I checked. Oh, see, you like it already. I do. Yeah. This is good. All right. So then I went and I checked. I checked on FanDuel. All three of those guys, Chris, their shot on goal prop today is 2.5. Not a 3.5 that you generally see. Not even sometimes a 4.5 that you might see for a Draisaitl or a McDavid or something like that. They're all at 2.5. Now, the juice is slightly different, obviously. Kempe is at -130. Fiala's at -140. But Kopitar is at plus money to go over 2.5 shots on goal tonight. He's at, last time I checked, at plus 110. So I ask you, like, double check my process. Do you think this is a good line to kind of back here tonight against the bad defense? And then I gave you the juice there. Do I just go with the veteran Kopitar, or do I take one of these other wingers, on the power play? What do you think so far? Should I attack one of these 3 shot on goal props? They're all at 2.5.
Well, I think your process is absolutely spot on
Cool.
to start looking at the Ducks and a team that not only leads the NHL in penalty minutes taken, and on the flip side, you talked about the power play with the Kings. So they're going to get a couple opportunities on the power play. I mean, the Ducks just are not disciplined. It's part of why they've given up so many shots and so many goals is they can't stay out of the box. But another statistic I like to look at is just 5-5 numbers. So you kind of throw out the power play stuff and you just see like even playing field. You got 5 skaters, we got 5 skaters, and this is a team that still gets dominated. Shot attempts allowed at 5-5 per 60, the second most in the NHL, just a fraction below those Blue Jackets, which you mentioned. But the shots, 36.83 shots allowed at 5-5 per 60, according to Natural Stat Trick. There's a big gap between them and the Blue Jackets at number 2. You mentioned the goals against, but how about the expected goals against at 3.33? That is number 1 in the NHL. And then also number 1 in terms of allowing goals. So they're not really getting any goaltending. John Gibson is not going to play in this game, I don't think. They're going to be down to what will be their 3rd string goalie.
Ooh.
And this is the biggest kicker for me too as well, is that most of the goals that happen at 5-5 are right in the slot, just in front of the net, the hash marks. It's called the high danger zone. So taking a look again at the 5-5 per 60 numbers, The Anaheim Ducks allow 15.95 high danger chances at 5-5 per 60. The next closest team, you guessed it, the Blue Jackets, right there with the Coyotes. But there is a big gap there between the two, and also even furthermore to pick on the Ducks. They've also allowed the most scoring chances at 5-5 per 60. So at 5-5, they're awful. And then you add the fact that they take more penalties than anybody, and their penalty kill is not great. Then you add all of a sudden this Kings line. You mentioned all three of these guys in Kopitar, Fiala, and Kempe. They are back together at 5-5 as a line. They were split up for a little bit.
Okay.
And now they're back together playing 5-5, and they're also together on the first power play. So it really does correlate. A couple things
I
that
might
we
be
can
onto
do here that I want
something
to
here,
share.
Chris.
You definitely are. You definitely are. I think, Fiala's juiced, as you mentioned.
He is.
So it is tough to get behind Kevin Fiala, despite the fact that he has, I think, 3 straight games with at least 4 shots. He got 14 shots over that span.
That's
I
probably
like him for an assist tonight. You got the value with Kopitar. He's a bit of a pass-first guy as opposed to a shooter, but we're looking for a plus money play in what is a fantastic spot. He's kind of 2.5. He's had at least 3 shots in 3 of his past 4 games. But Kempe is one of my favorites to attack, and he went on a bit of a cold spell. He was placed on that third line, and he's always still had that first power play. But he's starting to heat up just a little bit now. He's up to 12 goals. 4 of them have come over his last 5 games. He's had at least 3 shots on goal in 3 of the 4 games. The one game that he didn't, he was stuck on 2. It was his last game. So great spot. Back to playing 20 minutes a game with LA's 2 best playmakers in Kopitar and Kevin Fiala. And I think you could do like a little fun same game parlay.
Oh,
you can't do this, I don't think, at DraftKings and Caesars. Like, you can't do the point parlays. You have to get involved with like shots and maybe goals and things like that. But at Bet365, you can take Kempe for a point. Let's do it here. We'll take Kempe for a point. Let me get her
Fiala.
Fiala. Let me see. It's making me log in. We'll do it on the fly. This is probably going to pay like plus 220. And the reason I like it so much is because it correlates. These guys are going to play, as we mentioned,
they're going to be on the line together.
They're going to play
a
on
goal
the power
from one
play.
of them, assisted by the other one, and then we'll come home on the
most
same thing,
likely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely. So let's go Fiala, Kempe, Kopitar, plus 180. It's not bad. All of these guys to hit a point.
What if I just throw in Kings to win on the money line as well?
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, let's go Kings money line. Then you're at
That'll
plus 220.
boost it up a little bit, right? There you go.
Then you're at plus 220. And again, it all correlates. You expect this line to have a night. Good spot against a bad hockey team. They're at home.
With a backup goalie, you said even.
With a backup
third string goalie. Yeah.
Third string goalie. And away you go. So if you want to get a little bit crazier, you can add Kempe for 2.5 shots. You can maybe pick Kempe for a goal. If he scores a goal, then you feel like Fiala or Kopitar have that assist. And then all of a sudden you're looking at like an 8-1. You don't put the full unit. You just have some fun with some of that in there as well. So yeah, I think you're definitely onto something. It's a line to attack tonight. It's a really good spot at home.
All right, fair enough. We're going to pick and choose and put that together. But think about it. Kempe, Kopitar, Fiala against, and I didn't even know it was the third string goalie, Chris. So thank you for giving me that tidbit. But we are attacking the Ducks to be sure. We think the Kings can get it done at home. But let's go back to one of your other props. I know you have something for the Blues and the Kraken later on tonight.
Yeah, the Blues are interesting. We were on them last night as dogs, plus 140 against the Canucks. It's a really tough spot in the second half of a back-to-back against a Kraken team to really get behind them to win tonight. But Jordan Kyrou has been very, very impressive. His shot prop's at 2.5. And again, we'll always reference our prop shop here. I am seeing minus 118 over at Bet Rivers. And across the board, actually, it's pretty decent odds. For example, like last night, you would have had to put him into a parlay or get involved with Prize Picks because he was at 3. And then 2.5 was really juice in what was a good spot against Vancouver. Tougher spot, back-to-back. But this guy's just red hot. And I know this happens in the NBA. Guys are just streaky. They're really feeling themselves. Maybe they're cooking from 3 and, they have a great game and maybe that carries over into the next game. But I feel like across all sports, the streakiness is crazy in the NHL. Like guys they could go 2-3 weeks without a goal. All of a sudden, a goal goes off someone's foot. It's in the back of the net. They're feeling a lot lighter. They're not gripping the stick as tough, and they're just potting goals. Kyrou had a hat trick last night. He's got 6 goals over a 3-game goal streak. He enters on a 4-game point streak. His shot prop's at 2.5. He's had at least 4 shots in 5 straight games and 3 shots in 6 straight games. There's a lot of inconsistency with this Blue squad this year. Defensively, in goal, offensively, some of their star players, Tarasenko, Ryan O'Reilly, not playing great. The one constant all year long has been Jordan Kyrou. The ice time has been there with them, no matter what line he plays on. And it almost seems like that's what they do in St. Louis. You're not going, I'm going to put you with Kyrou on the second line and try to get him going. Try to get him going on the first. He's quote unquote on the third line, but yet this is a guy that's playing a ton, getting a lot of power play time as well. I'm going to take the over 2.5 shots on Jordan Kyrou.
I like that. Kyrou over 2.5 shots. Like you said, he's coming off that hat trick, maybe even more apt to put the puck on net, feeling itself a little bit. Kyrou streaking like Will Ferrell in Old School. So we've got Kyrou over on his shots on goal. I'm back in the Kings. I'm going to pick and choose. Maybe I'll round robin like all of them to get a goal or something like that, because 2 out of the 3 of them will, and I'll come home. And then, of course, Chris is all on the Calgary Flames to do so in regulation. And then Dylan Dubé to be part of the reason why by getting a point. Remember, with all of these props, go to the prop shop on FTN Bets. You can get the best part of the number. I've been doing it, Chris, honestly. When I do say Monday and Thursday with Taylor Mathis on some of the spotlight games, we'll see the difference of rushing yards be
crazy,
like 4 or 5, and then sometimes he lands in between, so there's a universe to kind of middle that. We get a touchdown prop yesterday. I saw someone at plus 185 that was even money at another shop. We're talking 85 cents of difference.
Wow.
All that to say, go to the prop shop over at FTN Bets. Great tools. And like we said, do it now, and you can leverage one of the great subscription bonuses or deals we are giving you for the holiday week. Chris is on Mean Streets. You can see Chris all over on FTN Bets. Tomorrow on Daily Bets, we're going to have my guy Kyle Murray join the show. We're going to talk about the NBA slate, give out some winners there. Kyle has been so hot, he is sweating steam on this show. I don't think my man has missed one yet. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. But today, the only thing that can cool you off are props on ice. So make sure you tail Chris and put one together with the Kings, just like I did. So for my man, Chris Meaney, I am merely the Spittin Statistician, Dane Martinez. Hope you like what you see. Hope you like what you hear. Click subscribe, smash the like button, follow us on Twitter, and hopefully you hit those bets. Your bank account will thank you tomorrow. And come on back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern to celebrate with another episode of Daily Bets. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.